Another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. Great to have you here, as I always say. And a couple of things to mark. It's our first show since Nigeria had its presidential elections last week. We're excited to be back, and everything seems to be okay. A lot of us didn't think things were going to turn out the way they did, but thankfully we're here to have another brand new show, and it's great to see that Nigeria has moved on swiftly and easily from all of the tension that came with the elections last week. It's also our very first show in April. The year is very fast, moving fast, and in May, the month plus, we'll be having our president-elect being sworn in. But most importantly, it's day 356 days since over 200 girls were abducted from the government secondary school in Chibok. A lot of them are still out there. We still don't know where they are. Their parents, a lot of parents have actually lost hope. It's pretty much a year, 9 days shy of a full year since these girls were abducted from school. A lot more have been abducted since then. Some of them have been killed. Thankfully, the fight against insurgency in the northeastern part of Nigeria has stepped up, and things seem to have started looking positive, at least for the most part, even though in the last week you did hear about bomb attacks in Gombe and I think parts of Borno as well. But at least things seem to be slowing down, and I hope that it continues in that way. Mr. President still has give or take 2 months to go before he hands over to the president-elect. So hopefully he continues this fight that he started six weeks ago to, quell the insurgency in the northeast and, of course, across Nigeria. We have an exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking politics, of course, as it should be, because we're smack in the middle of two elections. The presidential elections held last week. State elections will be holding next week for governors and State House of Assembly members. And we're going to be having two sets of panels here to talk about all of them and see what happened last week and what should we be looking forward to in the week ahead. So please stay with us and we'll be right back.
We represent. What else? Come on.
Welcome back. Now we'll be joined here by two special panelists to talk about the presidential elections last week. And I know if you've been watching channels, which I'm sure you have in the last, at least over the weekend that passed, you will know that all angles to these elections have been discussed, but we're going to also try and see what we can do to talk about, how the elections held and what we should be looking forward to coming. I have here with me Wale Oshunde. Thanks for being here today, a legal practitioner, and of course I have here with me John Adeneko. Thanks for being here, both of you.
My pleasure.
I want to start with the most important question. Did you vote, Wale?
Well, no PVC, so I could not vote.
I remember the last time you were here, you were talking about not having collected your PVC. What happened with that eventually?
Well, I couldn't get it because almost everybody in my local government could not have access to the PVCs.
What local government is that?
In Ogun State, we recorded the lowest. So yes, Shagamu local government, I couldn't get my PVC, so I could not vote in the election. Sadly, I could not vote.
And seeing how the elections turned out, I'm sure you are completely pained at the fact that you were not a part of this process.
Well, not entirely, because indeed, should I just say I'm happy? It's okay. So since that is the wish of Nigerians, then it should prevail over any other sentiment by any individual. So I think it's quite good. It's okay. But painfully I could not vote. I should say that.
John, did you vote?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Where did you vote?
I voted in Canada government.
How did that go for you?
Very well.
Were you one of those who started on Saturday and ended on Sunday nights?
Not really. I followed the process through, and I was happy that even though overall my wish was not what came out, but then I'm happy I participated in the process, and Nigerians.
Okay, so at least now we know who you voted based on what you said. But I want to ask, because why I asked that, because Lagos seems to be one of those states where there were a lot of mixed sort of reactions to INEC's performance. There were places where things started on time and they were done before 5 o'clock.
Yes.
But there were places where people stayed overnight and didn't vote until Sunday.
Yes.
Some people ended up counting at 6 a.m., So how was it for you in particular? Did your card readers work and all of that?
Perfectly. Where I voted, everything was on time. My only minus there was that people didn't turn out as I would have loved people to turn out. But for those who were on ground, we voted and the vote was counted. I think by 7 we were through with our polling unit. Yeah. And then
Let's talk about the turnout now, because I know Ogun State might have had issues with PVCs and all of that, but turnout in general across the country, average was about 40%, which I mean is below pass if by any standards. And most shockingly, in Lagos, it was 29%. That is extremely low. With all of the enthusiasm that people thought this election brought, with it, two vibrant candidates. For the first time, we're going to have two candidates who are going to be, who are from big parties hustling it out. How come the turnout was that low?
Well, I think in a country of over 170 million people, in the very first place, the number of people who registered, 68 million people, and out of which only about 50 million or thereabout got their PVCs. I think in the first place, people were so expecting that it would be violent. I mean, the elections would be violent. And so that kind of dampened people's enthusiasm. And then, at the end of the day, you see that a number of people did not want to get out. People were scared. And then nobody knew that it would be this successful. I must say that this is about the freest and fairest election that I have witnessed in Nigeria. Obviously, even from the stories we've had from our fathers, our grandfathers, and what have you, I think this is still one of the most credible elections that our electoral committee has been able to put together.
We're still going to get to INEC, but I still want to talk about the turnout now. You said your turnout in your area was low. Did you get to talk to people? Did you visit other polling units? What was the reason people kind of gave you?
The peculiarity about Ogun State was the unavailability of PVCs, and it affected people's turnout
a lot.
Then, as he said, too, people were expecting violence, so people were scared. There were people too. I came across people too who had PVCs and could not vote because their name was not on the voters register. Of course, I had to tell them that they didn't do a checkup when INEC was asking people to come and do claims and objections. But ordinarily, I feel the low turnout around Ogun State was due to PVC non-availability.
Yeah. Before we get to INEC now, since you voted, the NYC members have also gotten a lot of mixed sort of reviews with maybe their training and what they should have known about the card readers and all of that and how the entire process works. What was your impression of the core members and ad hoc staff in general?
The places where I went to that day, even though I was not officially an observer, but I tried to go around to see what's happening. I think they did well, except for initial mix-up, but later on they got the acts together and they were able to do the thing they were supposed to do. So I believe the core members around here were very relaxed and they did well.
Let's talk INEC now. I know a lot has been said about INEC. A lot has been said about the head of INEC in particular, Atahiru Jaga, who has gotten a lot of pass marks from Nigerians and internationally as well with the way he's handled everything. Yes, people have said, they did well. The elections are mostly free and fair, like you said. But I know we've dissected them so much. I didn't get my PVC as well. And a lot of people had that issue where they really wanted to vote, but could not because there were so many issues around it. This election also lasted about 5 days from registration, from accreditation to when the winner was announced. It was about 5 days.
Absolutely.
Should things be that hectic for one election?
Oh, well, I do not think that it will continue to be like that. But this very one, you would know that this is an election with a difference. To be very honest with you, as a matter of fact, you can just see that the stakes were too high at that point in time. And then it wasn't INEC's fault that it had to go through about 5 days before we would be able to have a winner. But, they had to patch up circumstances beyond their control. And then you hear in some places they could not vote this time, and so they had to postpone till the next day and all that. And then you will see that INEC wanted a very credible, in fact, near perfect election. You understand my point? And then you know that the expectation of the international community, in fact, our own expectations ourselves, you see that it was very high at that point in time. And so we really wanted the best of INEC. And the only thing INEC could do at that point in time was to take serious time and serious caution, tread softly, and then ensure that at the end of the day, Nigerians accept whatever decision that they come up with. And then you see the acceptability of the election results. Yeah. And so if only INEC had said that, we want to ensure that we finish everything by Sunday, then there could be chaos.
Yeah. But there has to be a way of making this thing shorter. I mean, we can't continue this way.
There is no shorter cut than embracing technology. And Nigerians are not ready now. That is the long and short of it. The National Assembly is not ready. Majority of our voters are not ready. and until we embrace it.
But do you think that's going to be different now, seeing how, because a lot of people complained, and people are even worried that this might affect the turnouts for the state elections next week? Because people went through so much last week and don't want to do that again next week. Do you think that will be the case?
Sadly, now there is no shortcut to it. We are still going to experience even lower voter turnout. Traditionally, that's how it has always been. The first election, people come out. Then, usually, when things don't go the way they wanted, they lose confidence. But I believe over time, because we are progressing, honestly, we are progressing with the electoral process. I believe over time, maybe not now, maybe in 2019, maybe 2023, I'm sure that
that's too far. Let's do 2019. I mean, we'll have a couple of state elections between now and 2019 that are going to hold Anambra, Ekiti, all of that. That should help.
They are going to be a good test case for us. I believe and I hope that very soon we're going to see the need for us to really embrace technology. The world is moving at a very fast level. We cannot afford to be behind. And I'm sure everybody will come on board and see the reason why we should do things, so hectic. 5 days running. I'm sure very many people were glued to their television set trying to monitor. People could not sleep. I wasn't able to sleep.
I mean, you will sleep and dream. I dreamt of voting in the
I did as well.
It was
why do you have to go through all that if you have another means of doing things?
It's a very long process. But I agree with you. I think technology is the only way to go around making it a little shorter. Because, I mean, I think I saw the U.S. Secretary of Affairs in Africa or something, and she was on channels talking about how in America you just go in. You don't even need to go with your card at the point where they are now, because you just identify yourself, they check through, and you go vote, and in 5 minutes you're done. I know we're still a long way from that because of trust issues. Yes, but I mean, 4 or 5 days is quite a lot.